Your power is built on fear and betrayal, Omar. It may burn brightly, but in the end, it will crumble into ashes under the weight of justice.
Justice! Such a naive word. Justice didn't save your father. It didn't save your people. So what makes you think it will save you now?
In a kingdom engulfed in darkness and oppression, where hope seemed to have vanished, an exiled prince was confronted his destiny. From a young man stripped of everything, Prince Malik rose from hardship, overcoming relentless trials to become a symbol of courage and justice. Once upon a time, in a magical kingdom nestled along the banks of the Potomac River, golden barley fields stretched endlessly, embracing lush green hills. This was the realm of King Kofi, a legendary ruler known not only for his profound wisdom, but also for his compassionate heart. King Kofi governed with absolute fairness and kindness, earning the unwavering admiration of his people. Under his leadership, the kingdom thrived, offering peace and prosperity to all who called it home. King Kofi was not just a monarch. He was the protector of humanity's finest values, a beacon of justice and reason. Alongside him was Queen Amina, a gracious and strong queen who was not only his beloved wife, but also his steadfast partner in every decision. Together they built a joyous family, their pride and hope centered on their only son, Prince Malik. From birth, Malik embodied the kingdom's aspirations and its bright future, destined to inherit the throne as a symbol of continued greatness. On one radiant morning, as flowers bloomed across the valleys and golden sunlight bathed the land, a momentous event took place. Queen Amina, overwhelmed with joy, gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. These two children became not only the source of boundless happiness for King Kofi and Queen Amina, but also the heralds of a new era filled with hope and prosperity. Across the kingdom, the people celebrated with unbridled joy, their laughter echoing far and wide, as if the heavens themselves had blessed them with a renewed spirit of life. An air of optimism and faith in a brighter future enveloped the land. Yet amidst this jubilation, darkness began to creep in, like a storm silently brewing on the horizon, ready to engulf everything the kingdom held dear. From the dense forests along the river emerged Chief Omar, one of the most powerful leaders of the communities bordering the Potomac. While the kingdom basked in peace and prosperity, Omar's heart was consumed with a shadowy ambition. Despite his wealth and influence, Chief Omar found no satisfaction in what he possessed. He craved more power, more control, and dreamed of usurping King Kofi's throne to rule the kingdom on his terms. Unable to contain his greed, Chief Omar began to rally other leaders who shared his yearning for power. Through cunning words and manipulative promises, he planted seeds of dissent, convincing them that King Kofi's kindness was weakness, and that the kingdom needed a stronger, more assertive ruler. Slowly but surely, Chief Omar's silver tongue swayed them, drawing them into his web of betrayal. Secret meetings unfolded under the shroud of night in shadowy, deserted places. Chief Omar and his allies devised intricate plans to overthrow King Kofi. Their schemes aimed not just to dethrone the king, but to obliterate everything he had built. To achieve this, Omar resorted to dark and forbidden methods. He sought out witches and practitioners of ancient malevolent magic to aid him. Curses and spells were summoned to corrupt the minds of the kingdom's loyal subjects and warriors. The stage was set, and only time stood between Omar and the execution of his treacherous plan. On a fateful night, while the kingdom celebrated a grand festival filled with music and joy, Chief Omar struck. Amid the revelry, he unleashed his dark forces. Strange, otherworldly creatures crept into the festivities, silently preying on the weak-willed and possessing their minds. Chaos erupted in an instant. The once harmonious kingdom descended into madness. Neighbors turned on one another, homes were set ablaze and streets echoed with screams and destruction. Prince Malik, amidst the celebration with his parents, witnessed the horror unfold. He saw trusted warriors, lifelong friends of the family, succumb to madness, attacking innocents. Meanwhile, King Kofi and Queen Amina fought valiantly within the palace as their kingdom fell to betrayal. Everything they had safeguarded now teetered on the brink of ruin. Amid the turmoil, Prince Malik realized that the future of the kingdom and the survival of his parents were in grave peril. With the help of Morvin, a loyal warrior, he narrowly escaped the clutches of death. Alone and with no choice but to flee, Malik vowed to survive, reunite with his family, and bring justice to those who had betrayed them. Thus began Prince Malik's journey. He would have to fight, conquer his fears, and face the lurking darkness. Most importantly, he would have to reclaim his kingdom from the clutches of greed and tyranny. As the radiant light of the festival illuminated the kingdom, a shadow of ambition and treachery began to spread through its hidden corners. Chief Omar and his allies, consumed by greed and cunning, quietly set their dark plan into motion. While the kingdom immersed itself in the jubilant festival atmosphere, with lively music echoing, drums beating, and dances blending seamlessly into laughter, a disaster was silently brewing, awaiting its moment to strike. At this moment, Chief Omar and his conspirators had devised an unimaginable attack. In the shadows, he summoned the witches under his command, practitioners of dark magic, to perform a sinister ritual. These rites were not meant to create mere chaos, but to unleash a full-scale assault, something the kingdom could never anticipate. As the dancers twirled and the crowd revelled, the witches, hidden in the darkness, chanted incantations of black magic. From their hands emerged strange and ominous creatures, resembling ghostly butterflies that glowed with an eerie light. These were no ordinary creatures. They carried an invisible power capable of infiltrating the minds of humans, stripping them of control and turning them into tools of destruction. One by one, these shadowy butterflies soared into the festival crowds. The attendees, unaware of the impending danger, remained absorbed in their joy and celebration, oblivious to the catastrophe creeping closer. By the time anyone noticed the threat, it was already too late. In mere moments, the sinister creatures began to infiltrate the minds of the festival goers. Among the victims was a seasoned warrior, once a loyal defender of the kingdom's peace. Suddenly, his eyes turned crimson and his body trembled as the whispers of dark magic consumed his mind. He no longer recognized friend or foe, focusing only on one goal: destruction. With a swift, violent blow, the warrior struck down a friend in front of the shocked crowd. Panic spread like wildfire as more victims succumbed to the ghostly invaders, turning the once vibrant festival into a scene of pure chaos. People who had been laughing and dancing moments before became crazed attackers, lashing out at anyone within reach. In just a few minutes, the celebration transformed into a nightmare. Screams of terror filled the air, mingling with the sound of drums and cries of pain. Civilians, warriors, and kingdom leaders alike succumbed to the overwhelming force of dark magic, unable to resist its grasp on their thoughts and actions. Amidst the turmoil, Prince Malik, only 10 years old, witnessed the horrifying scene, a nightmare no child should ever endure. He watched in disbelief as his loved ones, once valiant warriors and trusted allies, turned against one another. His father, King Kofi, fought valiantly to protect his people, but the storm of black magic proved insurmountable. His mother, Queen Amina, struggled to shield her children, but fate seemed to conspire against them. Everything began to crumble. Prince Malik's heart shattered as he saw his family and kingdom under attack by those they once trusted. The young prince could not comprehend why this was happening, but he understood one thing clearly. His kingdom and family had been betrayed. Yet in the midst of the chaos, a glimmer of hope remained. Prince Malik was not entirely alone. With unshakable loyalty and courage, Morvin, a steadfast warrior of the royal family, found the young prince amidst the flames and carried him to safety. Morvin, a hero who refused to yield to adversity, fought fiercely to protect Malik and led him away from the palace under siege. Through sheer determination, Morvin guided the boy through dangerous paths to a hidden refuge beyond the reach of the traitors. Even in the safety of their escape, Prince Malik realized his journey was far from over. The kingdom's future was now a distant dream. the young prince, no longer a royal heir to a powerful kingdom, had become an exile, forced to rebuild his strength from nothing. Morvin, his unwavering protector, took him to a distant place in Georgia, where a thriving African community awaited. A sanctuary where Malik could train and grow into a true warrior. With Morvin's guidance, Malik learned invaluable lessons about survival, resilience, and inner strength. They traversed dense forests and vast plains, where Malik not only mastered combat skills, but also discovered how to control his emotions and harness untapped power within himself. Together they journeyed through dark woods filled with lurking dangers, where uncertainty became their constant companion. Throughout this arduous journey, Prince Malik began to understand that reclaiming his kingdom would require him to transform into a stronger person, a true leader who relied not just on the authority of a throne, but also on the strength of his heart and soul. However, this path would not be easy. Malik would face trials and tribulations unlike any he had ever known. Above all, he would have to confront the truth about himself. The years following the fall of the kingdom were anything but easy for Prince Malik. Once a prince of a mighty kingdom, he was now a wandering child with no home, no throne, and no power. Yet, amidst the hardships, Malik discovered his inner strength. Under the protection and guidance of Morvin, a loyal warrior of the royal family, Malik embarked on a journey not only to reclaim his kingdom, but also to rediscover himself. Morvin was more than a protector. He was a teacher, a guide, helping Malik understand that true strength lay not in weapons or power, but in perseverance, spirit, and courage. During those years, Malik learned invaluable lessons from the indigenous people he encountered on his journey. They shared inspiring tales of resilience, sacrifice, and the power of the land. They taught him survival skills in harsh conditions, how to hunt, treat illnesses with herbs, and defend himself against wild beasts. They also instilled in him the importance of protecting the vulnerable in society. One of the most important lessons Malik learned was patience. Faced with homesickness, loneliness, and the pain of loss, he came to understand that recovery could not happen overnight. Success required time, and every victory came at a cost. Yet, he also learned that sacrifice and loyalty were indispensable values for achieving his goals. Malik not only learned to fight to protect himself, but also grew into a wise leader, one who weighed decisions carefully and understood the value of peace. After every battle, every adventure, he realized more and more that the kingdom did not merely need the strength of warriors. It needed justice and harmony. He learned to listen, to engage in dialogue, and to build trust. No longer just a prince, Malik had become a man, a true leader, one who understood that peace could only be achieved when everyone was treated fairly, without discrimination. With Morvin's guidance, Prince Malik grew into a skilled warrior and a visionary leader. However, despite all he had learned, Malik understood that he could not defeat the darkness that had taken over his kingdom alone. He needed the help of those who once fought for justice, the loyal warriors of King Kofi, those who had defended the kingdom for peace and prosperity. With a heart full of determination, Malik devised a plan to find the kingdom's old allies. He knew that in the shadows of the war, his old friends still existed, hidden but not entirely defeated. But how could he find them when the kingdom had fallen and Chief Omar's forces had taken control of every corner of the land? The answer came from a new friend Malik met during his journey, Nana. Nana was a strong, intelligent, and resolute young woman from a village near the ancient forest, where the people had preserved the old traditions of their ancestors. Although Nana was an ordinary villager, Malik realized she was a silent warrior, one who had been seeking out the kingdom's former allies for years. Nana shared stories of the kingdom's loyal warriors, the great battles they had fought, and the hardships they had endured. With Nana's help, Malik began his quest to find the kingdom's old allies, the warriors who had once protected the realm during its golden days. The journey took them across vast plains, through dense forests, and into territories where old enemies still lurked, constantly challenging Malik and his growing team. As the journey progressed, Malik discovered that not everyone was ready to fight again. The scars of the past, the losses of the war, had left many without the will to continue, but Malik refused to give up. He persuaded each warrior, not just with words but through his own strength, resilience and courage. Slowly but surely, he built trust among them, and with every warrior who joined, Malik's army grew stronger. With his army of reawakened warriors growing, Malik understood that defeating Chief Omar and his traitorous forces would require more than just physical might. He needed to combine the strength of his warriors with the ancient magic preserved by the land's indigenous people for generations. Under Nana's guidance, Malik sought out the masters of magic, those who had survived the wars and were the last keepers of the ancient secrets of their people. The rituals and spells they taught Malik not only enhanced his combat skills but also deepened his understanding of the power of the mind, the spirit of unity, and the belief in justice. With each step, Malik grew stronger and more prepared, but he also realized that the final battle would not merely be a fight between warriors. It would be a battle between light and darkness, justice and ambition. Armed with a revitalized army, newfound magical knowledge, and the unwavering support of his allies, Malik and Nana prepared for the ultimate confrontation, a battle that would decide the fate of the kingdom, a battle that would restore Malik to the throne he had lost, and most importantly, a battle that would affirm the rebirth of a kingdom no force could ever truly destroy. In the dark days under the tyrannical rule of Chief Omar, when every home and every street in the kingdom was filled with fear and oppression, Prince Malik decided it was time to rise. His patience had run out, and the pain of witnessing his people suffer for so long ignited a fire within him. A fire to fight back. Malik's kingdom had been overtaken by traitors who spread fear and cruelty among the citizens. Now he could no longer sit idly by and watch his homeland be destroyed by evil hands. He resolved to return to his kingdom with his army of loyal warriors and friends he had gained on his journey to reclaim the throne and free his people from enslavement. Malik knew the road ahead would not be easy. He and his army would have to face countless challenges, battling not only Chief Omar's forces, but also braving the unforgiving forces of nature, raging storms, fierce winds, and unrelenting waves. Led by Morvin and supported by valiant warriors from far and wide, Malik guided his army through dense forests, vast plains, and arid deserts. The journey was not only long but fraught with peril. Every step brought unexpected dangers, from wild predators to lurking enemies eager to strike. But Malik could not give up. He had to do this, not just for himself, but for all the innocent people suffering under Chief Omar's rule. He needed to win back the freedom of his kingdom and protect those he loved. Malik's journey was not only a physical battle, but also a mental and emotional one. He had to face raging seas and powerful winds as his army pushed forward toward uncharted lands, nearing California, where it was said that tribes of great power and mystery might lend their aid. As Malik and his forces reached the outskirts of California, they sought not only military assistance, but also hope. The last spark needed to win this fight. These tribes, forgotten by much of the world, held unparalleled strength. They possessed unique combat skills and ancient secrets of magic and strategy that the rest of the world had yet to understand. With renewed hope, Malik and his army ventured into the hidden valleys where these tribes resided. Gaining their trust was no simple task. The tribes were cautious of outsiders, especially those with intentions of conquest. However, through patience and respect for their culture, Malik gradually earned their confidence. The great warriors and skilled shamans of these tribes joined forces with Malik, understanding that this battle was not just about power, but about securing a brighter future for all. The tribes brought not only fierce warriors, but also innovative tactics, combining weapons with ancient magic. With their assistance, Malik's forces grew stronger and their strategies became more refined, preparing for the decisive battle ahead. When Malik's army was fully trained and ready, he felt the tension and determination within himself sharpen like never before. His kingdom remained under occupation. His people lived in oppression, and he was the only one who could change their fate. Deciding that there was no time left to hesitate, Malik began the final preparations for the ultimate battle against Chief Omar and his dark forces. As the battle unfolded, Malik faced not only Chief Omar's formidable warriors, but also creatures summoned through dark magic, beings that no one in the kingdom had ever been able to defeat. These creatures, born from the shadows, carried terrifying powers, capable of controlling minds and turning even the bravest into puppets for their sinister masters. In a battlefield engulfed by Sukan fire, Malik stood at the forefront of his army, sword raised, facing the enemy without fear. Under his leadership, his warriors fought valiantly, never yielding even in the face of monstrous adversaries. He knew that this was a battle they could not afford to lose, for failure would mean total destruction. The battlefield throbbed with tension as Malik and his forces gradually pushed back the dark creatures. Every swing of Malik's sword brought down another foe, and every strike inspired hope among his men. But in the most critical moment, as the warriors poured all their strength into the fight, Chief Omar appeared. Wielding the power of dark magic, he summoned the ultimate creatures, massive, terrifying beasts, unlike any seen before. With a thunderous clash, Malik faced Chief Omar head-on. This was not just a fight for the kingdom. It was a fight between good and evil, justice and greed. The powerful attacks exchanged by both sides made the very air around them seem to explode. Finally, drawing on the hidden strength within himself, Malik overcame Chief Omar, vanquishing the dark forces that had gripped his land. After a long and fiery battle, when Chief Omar was finally defeated, the kingdom of Obero was liberated from his cruel tyranny. The victory belonged not just to the warriors, but to justice and courage. In the moment when the darkness of brutality was driven away, the light of hope finally shone upon this land, a land that had been steeped in suffering and fear for so many years. Prince Malik, now no longer the dreamy prince of his youth, but a brave warrior and wise leader, had learned that power is not measured by weapons or ambition, but by the immense responsibility it carries, a responsibility to the people, the land, and oneself. And that is why, as Malik stood on the throne, his eyes filled with determination and hope, he vowed never to use his power for personal gain, but instead for the benefit of the entire kingdom of Obero. The battle was not merely a physical struggle, but also a fight within each person. Throughout his arduous journey, Malik faced challenges not only from enemies, but also from his own fears, doubts, and inner wounds. Yet, with resilience and faith in justice, Malik overcame every obstacle and ultimately brought freedom to his people. After Chief Omar was defeated, Prince Malik officially became King Malik, the young ruler of Obero. But Malik never forgot those who had stood by his side throughout this difficult journey. Loyal friends who never abandoned him even in the darkest moments. Morvin, the steadfast warrior and Malik's closest companion, remained a pillar of strength. Morvin was not just a protector, but someone who endured the darkest hours alongside Malik when the future of the kingdom seemed uncertain and fraught with danger. Throughout the journey, Morvin taught Malik invaluable lessons about loyalty, about never abandoning one's principles, no matter how tough the circumstances. Beside Morvin was Nana, a strong and intelligent young woman from a nearby village who had been with Malik from the earliest, most challenging days. Nana was not just a fighter, but someone who opened Malik's eyes to the power of love and the importance of protecting what is right, even at great personal cost. Nana's lessons helped Malik become a king not only strong, but also compassionate and wise. With the support of his loyal companions, King Malik was determined to rebuild Obero from the ruins left by Chief Omar. Malik understood that achieving this would require more than military strength. It would also demand wisdom in governance and compassion in every decision. He initiated major reforms to ensure fairness and peace for all the citizens of the kingdom. On his path to the throne, King Malik learned not only from those around him but also from within himself. The wounds of the past, the losses, and the sacrifices shaped him into a stronger, more resilient person than ever before. Malik understood that the role of a king is not just to stand at the pinnacle of power, but to serve his people, to always listen to them, understand them, and do everything possible to bring justice to all. The reforms Malik implemented were not limited to rebuilding the army or developing the economy. He focused on restoring community spirit, rebuilding trust in governance, and creating a society free of discrimination and the abuse of power. With a far-reaching vision, Malik began uniting the smaller tribes and communities into a strong alliance, a united kingdom of Obero, where people could live in harmony and prosperity. However, Malik never forgot the important lessons he had learned during his long and arduous journey. The importance of perseverance, sacrifice, and the need to stand for what is right, even in the face of great challenges. He understood that a true leader is not just someone who holds power, but someone willing to listen and confront difficulties, even if it means sacrificing a part of themselves for what is right. As King Malik looked out over the mountains he once traversed, he knew his work was far from over. Although the kingdom of Obero was free, new challenges would always arise, and Malik would have to be ready to face them. Every decision, every action he took, carried a profound responsibility for the kingdom, for the people who believed in him. Malik stood there, his heart filled with pride and faith in the future, but also with the awareness that the road ahead would be long. His story is not only one of triumph and justice, but also of sacrifice, loyalty, and unity. He knew that a true king must lead by example, becoming a leader the people can trust and rely upon. But one lingering question echoed in Malik's mind and the hearts of those who stood by him. When the kingdom prospers again, will there be another force, a new threat, to challenge everything they have built? Can King Malik sustain this peace and prosperity for the rest of his reign? And so, our story pauses here. But remember, King Malik's journey is far from over. Follow the next chapters to discover what new challenges may arise and how Malik will face the forces that threaten his long journey. Call to action. If you love this story and want to follow the next adventures of King Malik, don't forget to hit like, share this with your friends and family in the US, and subscribe to our channel to never miss the next installment. This tale has many surprises in store and you won't want to miss them. Leave your thoughts and share your ideas about what might happen next in Malik's journey. We deeply appreciate your support as we continue this epic story of the resurrection of the Kingdom of Obero.